my name is Sock, and I make art and stuff. Today, the stuff I've made is a video essay. And warning, spoilers ahead for Silent Hill 2, the original and the remake, and for Mouthwashing. You've been warned. Also, keep in mind that topics that might be triggering to some people will be brought up, such as suicide or an essay, so just keep that in mind. If that's not your thing, don't watch this video essay. But other than that, let's get right into it. So, I think the way that I want to start is summarizing the games because even if you've played it, maybe it's been a while, or for those that haven't played it, like my mom, I'd like to summarize it just real quick. So, Silent Hill 2 was originally released in 2001 on the PlayStation 2, and its remake released in 2024 on multiple platforms. PlayStation 5 and Steam, like that's the ones I know about. I doubt that it would be on the Switch. uh, so, Silent Hill 2 is about James Sunderland. He receives a letter from his deceased wife, Mary, to find her in the town of Silent Hill. James has to traverse through the fog covered town that's filled with monsters to find their special place. Mary has been dead due to a disease for 3 years. James is unsure of whether it's true, but has nothing to lose. He encounters four other people while in the town. He meets Angela, an anxious woman looking for her mother, Eddie, a young man who is always in denial, and who is running from something. Laura, who's a little girl that doesn't have a care in the world. She doesn't seem to be able to see the monsters or anything like that. And Maria, a woman who looks exactly like his dead wife, Mary. After many weird puzzles and dealing with Angela and Eddie's trauma, watching Maria die repeatedly to a monster known as Pyramid Head, James is able to find Mary. Only she hasn't been dead for 3 years. She's been dead for 3 days, and James is the one who killed her. He couldn't handle the resentment of waiting for her to die from her illness, and he smothered her with a pillow. There are a lot of great video essays and analyses of this game on YouTube, and yeah, they're far better than I described, so check those out if you'd want a more detailed description or even play the game. Both the remake and the original really have that same core essence, but the remake embellishes a lot of the story as well. And now, a quick summary of Mouthwashing. Released in 2024, Mouthwashing is an indie horror game about a delivery ship getting stranded in space after crashing into an asteroid. Switching between the perspective of the captain of the ship, Curly, and acting captain when Curly is injured, Jimmy, we see the story unfold out of order. The player is always in first person mode. It all starts with the player purposely crashing the ship. In the present, we are Jimmy, dealing with taking over as captain, trying to figure out how to get home as they only have limited supplies. The crew consists of Anya, the medic, Swansea, the engineer, who is assisted by Daisuke, and Captain Curly, who is injured beyond recognition and unable to speak. The crew wonders why Curly would crash the ship on purpose. In flashbacks, we play as Captain Curly as he deals with mental health surveys of the crew, finding out the crew has been let go, and that this will be their last delivery job. And most horrifyingly of all, Anya is pregnant after being assaulted by Jimmy. As the game goes on, we learn that Curly did not crash the ship, but Jimmy did. And he did not want to take responsibility for what he did to Anya, so he crashed the ship. He blames Curly for all of it. The crew is desperate, and it becomes apparently clear that they will never get home. Anya kills herself, Daisuke injures himself trying to save Anya, Swansea Mercy kills Daisuke, and then tries to kill Jimmy. Jimmy shoots Swansea. He puts Curly in the only working chiropod and then takes his own life. Both of these games are horror games. That's pretty obvious. But what makes these games so terrifying and enthralling in the first place? Some may argue the fear of the unknown, the fog of Silent Hill, the isolation in the vast empty void of space. Others, like myself, might argue it is not the unknown, but the known. Well, then what's the known in these two games? I've been thinking about Silent Hill for many years, even before the remake was announced, and Mouthwashing has been stuck in my mind since its release. Many consider Silent Hill 2 the best in the series. Back in the day, you can see people arguing that Silent Hill 2 is scarier than Silent Hill 3. Everyone has the right to their own opinion, but in my opinion, I think people cling to Silent Hill 2 more because it deals with predominantly male centered fear. I also believe Mouthwashing's entire theme is that same fear, but it puts it under a more critical lens. It is probably why it had so many people's attention so quickly after its release. The fear of taking responsibility. Specifically, the fear of taking responsibilities for one's actions towards women. What kind of brought this to my mind? Male loneliness. According to the American Institute for Boys and Men, both men and women are pretty much as lonely as one another. Sometimes women are seen to be even more isolated. Isolation has continuously been on the rise for many years, but why is it an epidemic when it comes to men? Simple, the response to it. When lonely, women seek each other out. They get hobbies, they look inward. When men are lonely, who do they seek out? They rarely seek out one another. They find someone to blame. A lot of the time, it's women. With not only the difficult emotion of isolation, their anger is also taken out on women. Just take a peek into an incel chat room. If you see the phrase void, you better start running. Both James in Silent Hill 2 and Jimmy in Mouthwashing blame women for their shortcomings or as inconveniences. They take it out on the only women they know with violence. James's violence has sexual undertones, while Jimmy's is outright sexual violence. Both are portrayed as losers in game, but Silent Hill 2 tries to humanize James, while Mouthwashing does not attempt to humanize Jimmy. Funny that Jimmy is a nickname for James. Two sides of the same coin, I guess. When James's wife Mary becomes ill with that damn disease, James is so in his own head he doesn't even remember what his wife was sick with. I'm joking, of course, that's the writing to be vague and mysterious. But when she becomes sick, he abandons her. He avoids her, and he doesn't want to see her. Even Laura, a little girl who's barely 8, sees this. Instead of actually blaming the illness for taking his wife too soon, he isolates himself and blames her for it. Eventually, he resents her so bad he suffocates her to death. He wants to be free of her. And what is the entire journey about Silent Hill 2? Facing what he's done. That's what's so terrifying. Not losing his wife, but taking responsibility for her killing. What scares him more than losing his wife is himself. This is definitely shown through the fact that Pyramid Head is a representation of James' sexual repression and his resentment of his wife. When Jimmy finds out that Anya is pregnant from him assaulting her, he tries to kill everyone and blames Curly rather than face what he's done. He blames Curly and Anya for how horrible his life situation is, rather than seeing it as his own actions that landed him in that spot. He then proceeds to actually get everyone on the ship killed, while accepting he's the only one who made the situation everyone is dealing with. So, who does this even help? Women are punished more for not forgiving than men are for doing the wrong in the first place. The ending of both games hit me like a brick. Why is that? They are both profound and deep, but why do they linger? Well, I think it's because who does their acceptance help but themselves? The harm is done, lives are taken. They say they're taking responsibility, but are they really? When James decides Mary forgives him, she wrote that letter before he suffocated her to death. That letter's about abandoning her, not killing her. And when he kills her, it's a mercy kill. But for who? Mary or James? When Jimmy says he is taking responsibility, all he has done is push Anya to commit suicide, gotten Daisuke and Swansea killed, and has just put Curly in a pod just to extend his suffering. His acceptance was nothing but a way for him to forgive himself before committing suicide. Both Jimmy and James, in my opinion, did not really take responsibility because there were no true consequences to what they had done. Taking responsibility means facing consequences and making right with those that you've harmed. One could argue James is in a gray area because Silent Hill 2 contains multiple endings. He does go to take care of Laura in one ending, which would be taking responsibility in a way, honoring Mary's wish to care for Laura. But in another ending, he also takes his own life like Jimmy. Jimmy takes the cheap way out. He never told the truth to everyone. He just doomed all of them to a terrible fate and decided to forgive himself before ending it all. It's doubtful anyone would go out looking for them, so putting Curly in the Cairo pod is just elongating his death. And the real person he needed to make things right with wasn't Curly, but Anya. Somehow he felt only Curly deserved his regret. He never seemed apologetic for what he did to Anya and the abuse he put her through constantly. James's resentment and hate for Mary was more silent. And hidden. It leaked through by the monster's design. Sexualized legs, sexualized nurses, sick creatures throwing up while wearing the cuntiest boots known to man. His opinion of women is showed by his action towards the other women he saw. He was dismissive of Maria and only paid attention because she looked how he wanted his wife to. He only seeks out Laura, not worrying for her safety, but for what she knows about Mary. James doesn't try to help Angela much, he just lets her go to her own death. He shows more emotional investment in Eddie actually asking about him.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
Jimmy's resentment is full-blown and in your face. As a lot of the game is from his perspective, he often characterizes Anya as weak and stupid. She's the smartest person on the ship, though. She's the only one who knows where things are and how to open the cargo hold. She manages to keep Curly alive even after his horrific injuries. She sleeps next to a mascot statue as an alarm of sorts to keep Jimmy from touching her again. He projects onto her throughout the whole game, but who she is always seeps through. Jimmy gets away with this because he's enabled by other men, especially Curly. Daisuke and Swansea turn a blind eye, but Curly actively protects him. In a way, James and Jimmy are in control of how they are punished. When one takes responsibility and actually faces consequences, they are never in control of said consequences. What does this say about our media? Where does that leave us? I think society sees horror as scary when it's centered around men's fears. These games are absolutely stellar, but society is a patriarchy and male stories are centered. Circling back to Silent Hill 2 being considered scarier than Silent Hill 3, I think it's because Silent Hill 3 is centered around a female character with the fears girls face when becoming women. But that's for another video essay. This is to say women are taught to enjoy and relate to male-centered stories, whereas men are not taught to enjoy or relate to female-centered stories. Would people have cared as much if Silent Hill 2 was focused more around Mary? Would people have cared as much if Mouthwashing was from Anya's perspective? Would men have seen either of these stories as scary if that happened? And even after these men commit horrible crimes, they're celebrated. For the Silent Hill 2 remake, you could buy the Mary murder pillow or wear the wife killer jacket. I admit, I even want that coat. Misogyny got to me too, god damn it. It's because James is seen as more of a person than Mary. She's there to develop him and haunt him. Even in memes, he is seen as relatable rather than threatening. He murdered his wife! And we're just cool with him chilling with Leon. He's compared to Leon, the woman protector. James is not baby girl the way Leon is, not even slightly. And I like calling Leon baby girl. People who go, Leon isn't baby girl, Leon listens to Nickelback. Both can be true, guys. It's misogyny keeping you from accepting Leon as baby girl. Even Jimmy has fans. And his crimes are more out there and cannot be easily brushed aside. There's no way to call it mercy, to give it an explanation. Mary's killing is wrong, but a lot of people can write it off as a mercy killing, I guess. Jimmy cannot write off what he did to Anya as merciful anything. And even after all this is said and done, Anya is still sexualized and fantasized about on the internet. I know Rule 34 affects everything, but it still doesn't sit right. To each his own, I guess. The misogyny cycle continues. It's interesting both the Silent Hill 2 remake and Mouthwashing released very close together in 2024, right before the US presidential election, which swung conservative due to male disillusionment. It's almost like the topic had been simmering to the point it was leaking into the media we consumed. So where does that leave us? Do I still enjoy these games? Absolutely. I am so happy for the attention Silent Hill has received and the revamp it's getting. And I love Mouthwashing. The praise it got was so well deserved. I think both games are important to the horror genre, and I don't think people shouldn't like them. Of course, I still want the wife killer jacket, but I think it's important to look at the media we love with a critical lens. It's just like people who love Scott Pilgrim for the wrong reasons. Just like Scott, James and Jimmy are there to teach us what not to be like. We should not aim to be them. So, in conclusion, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, only if you want to though. For my mom, don't worry, I'll continue my Resident Evil 0 playthrough, and I'll be making an essay for that. Any fans of Resident Evil, be on the lookout for that. I'll be playing the rest of the games in the series. The mainline series, I'm not playing all those spin-offs, I can't. And I will be playing Silent Hill 2 and Mouthwashing on the channel, so don't fear if you want to see me play that. And literally, I've just been so sick. I'll promise I'll get back to doing this kind of stuff. Thanks again. Bye, y'all.